Hey, it's Sam from Sugar Spun Run, and today we are making pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. All right, I am not personally a huge pumpkin fan myself, but I do love these muffins. And just to be safe, I had tons of my pumpkin-loving family members test them to make sure they got 2 thumbs up, and they sure did. My nephews were especially really big fans. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll get our oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Can't remember what that is in Celsius, so I will pop that up on the screen for you. We'll go ahead and get started. So you're going to need a large mixing bowl first, and we're going to start with our pumpkin puree. You need 1 1/4 cups or 300 grams of this stuff, and this is the canned pumpkin puree. You do not want to grab pumpkin pie filling, which looks the same kind of can, sold right next to it, but pumpkin pie filling has a bunch of other stuff added that we do not want in our muffins. So just 100% pure pumpkin puree. Also, I don't really recommend pureeing your own pumpkin that you carved for Halloween because that's a different sort of pumpkin and it's not going to work very well. This is more processed than that would be. So to make the muffins nice and moist, in addition to the pumpkin, we're going to be adding some oil. You need a 1/2 cup of a neutral cooking oil. I'm using avocado oil, but canola or vegetable oil would work as well. Tried this recipe with butter. The butter makes the muffins not quite as moist, and since we have so much other flavor going on here from the pumpkin and the spices, I recommend using oil rather than using melted butter. I just feel like somebody's gonna ask me about that, so I wanted to explain. All right, we need some sugar here. We are going to add 2/3 cup or 135 grams of granulated sugar. And we're also going to add some brown sugar. The molasses in the brown sugar adds a really nice depth of flavor and also adds to the moisture of the muffins. We will add a 1/2 cup or 100 grams of firmly packed light brown sugar. I think I'm done with my scale for a bit. Next, we're going to need some sour cream. You need a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of sour cream, though you could substitute a full fat plain Greek yogurt instead. Sour cream, I love using it in my baking because it's great for adding a nice depth of flavor and for adding moisture to baked goods. We're gonna follow this with 2 large eggs. Your eggs should be room temperature. Really everything should be the same temperature when you are making a batter like this. So your sour cream should be room temperature, pumpkin, everything you're using. So we've got 2 large eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Everything should be starting to smell pretty amazing around now. All right, I'm actually going to get my spatula out of here, and we're going to use a whisk to vigorously whisk everything together until this is really nicely combined. So I'll start slowly, I'll pick up the pace. I want everything nice and uniform and smooth. Beautiful. Slide this out of the way. Grab our scale back. You need a medium-sized mixing bowl for our dry ingredients. We're going to add 1 3/4 cup or 220 grams of all-purpose flour to our mixing bowl. A little bit more. Then we're going to need some pumpkin spice. I do mix together my own blend of pumpkin spice. I think I did a video on that, which I'll try to remember to link to. But of course, you can use store-bought pumpkin pie spice or pumpkin spice instead. It smells lovely. We'll also be adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That was actually my 3/4 teaspoon, so we're gonna bring that to 2 teaspoons there. And we'll add 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of table salt. Let's get this out of the way. We'll get everything whisked together. You want that pumpkin spice, you want everything in here nicely distributed. That way our muffins bake nice and evenly. Let's bring back our pumpkin mixture. We can go ahead and add all of these dry ingredients at once into the bowl, but do not use your whisk anymore. Switch back to your spatula, and we are going to gently fold everything together. When you're working with like a quick bread or a muffin, you do not want to overmix. Same with pancakes, because if you do, your muffins will be dense and rubbery. So we're just using the spatula in a gentle folding motion. A whisk would be bad news here. And then once things are mostly combined, I like to grab my chocolate chips. So we're using 1 1/2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips here. Let's go ahead and add them in. And just continue to fold everything together until the batter is nice and uniform. There shouldn't be any flour streaks remaining, and those chocolate chips should be well distributed through the batter. Make sure you're scraping the sides and bottom of the bowl as you go. And I do have some extra chocolate chips here that I'm going to use for topping the muffins, because it's not really such a thing as too much chocolate now, is there? All right, we're going to be making 12 muffins with this batter. I have lined my muffin tin with paper liners. Then I like to use a large scoop, and we will evenly divide this batter into our muffin tin. And they're going to be pretty full. That's expected. See, I have divided this muffin batter pretty evenly. We're almost to the top, and I still have some batter left. we're gonna go back and distribute that evenly because you wanna use all of it. It's gonna give us nice tall muffins. Since I'm working with less, I'm just gonna switch to a spoon to make it a little easier. I feel like I did a fair job dividing that. That one might be a little extra big, that's fine. So as I mentioned, I saved a couple chocolate chips for sprinkling on top, and I just kind of put them right in the center because they'll spread a bit as the muffins bake. You could do a little bit of coarse sugar on top. That would also be nice. Or you could do nothing on top. I just like to be a little extra with my sugar. Okay, so your oven should be fully preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're going to be baking these in the center rack. We are going to bake them on 425 degrees for 9 minutes. And then after 9 minutes, we are not going to open the oven door. We are going to reduce the oven temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to continue to bake for another 12 minutes. We're also going to check the muffins to make sure they're done. To do that, just insert a toothpick into the center. It should come out clean, or preferably with a few moist crumbs. It's clean, it's definitely done. If there are a few moist crumbs, it's actually perfect right in that sweet spot because it means they're not overbaked. Shouldn't be wet batter though. So we're gonna let these muffins cool in their tin for at least I'd say like 5 to 7 minutes. And then we're going to carefully, and I say carefully because the pan's probably still gonna be a little bit warm, we're going to remove them to a cooling rack to cool completely. I like to get them out of this tin because some condensation can happen and it can make the muffin bottoms a little bit oily or soggy seeming. So I just use a butter knife and gently pry them up and remove them to a cooling rack. And of course, you're going to want to let them cool completely, or at least until you're not going to burn yourself before you dig in. That is how you make these bakery style incredible pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. Make sure that you try my pumpkin oatmeal cookies next, or even my pumpkin pie. Both are pretty great for pumpkin lovers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Still a little warm. Oh, this is a beautiful muffin. It's a good muffin. Look at this. Now, I'm not even a big pumpkin person. This is good.